You stare at a mirror, the glass trembling, and in that hesitant reflection, you glimpse a secret inferno. Women are taught to be quiet sparks, subtle embers, hidden beneath polite smiles and soft words. But beneath that cultivated calm, your confidence blazes like molten steel, unseen, unclaimed, unchallenged. Nietzsche dared to probe the abyss of human spirit, yet even he overlooked the fierce glow of feminine self-assurance. He spoke of the will to power, as if it were a man's right alone, blind to the quiet blaze of women forging empires in their own hearts. Imagine standing on the edge of a silent desert at twilight. The world exhales in hushed tones, and the sky is a canvas of indigo and ash. There in the vast emptiness, your resolve pulses like a heartbeat in the sand. It is a voice that refuses to be muzzled, a defiance that ripples through the dunes unnoticed by those who mistake silence for submission. Nietzsche's pen traced the destinies of men forging their empires, yet he failed to perceive the empress forging hers in secret, her kingdom built on quiet convictions and hidden victories. This is not a tale of timid whispers. It is the saga of a confidence that doesn't clamor for attention. It doesn't roar, it radiates. It doesn't demand, it dignifies. It is the subtle revolution waged by women who know the power of silence and the weight of their own convictions. You are at the brink of discovering that your greatest strength lies not in the thunder of declarations, but in the unshakable calm that fuels your every decision. Brace yourself. You are about to uncover the hidden flame that men rarely see, the fierce, unspoken confidence that lives in the stillness. Have you ever sensed that something vital is stirring beneath the quiet, that an unseen force drives your every step? It is time to peer into that burning core, to feel its heat, and to recognize a power that has always been yours. This is your story, a tribute to hidden might, a call to embrace silent sovereignty and ignite the world around you. You step from the silent desert into a mirror maze of contradictions. Each polished panel reflects a different fragment of you, the poised professional, the nurturing friend, the daring dreamer, the careful planner. Yet none capture the ember nestled in your chest, the quiet roar that propels you forward. Herein lies the paradox. The world expects women to be both gentle and unbreakable, to wear softness as armor and steel as lace. You learn to cradle confidence in a velvet glove, to temper your flame so it won't startle the timid or threaten the bold. Picture a library at midnight, its endless shelves draped in shadows. You wander between ancient tomes and unread letters, secrets waiting in stillness. Your heartbeat is the only sound, a defiant drum in the hush. This is your sanctuary and your prison, a place where your ideas blaze like candles in the darkness, but must never melt the wax. As you trace the spines with your fingertips, you sense the weight of expectations books that urge you to speak softly, to pose questions without demanding answers, to frame your ambition as a humble aspiration rather than a march toward dominion. Have you ever wondered why your silence feels charged? Why each paused breath carries more weight than a shouted proclamation? Why the world often mistakes your lull for weakness, your deliberation for doubt? Nietzsche called the will to power the most primal human drive, yet he seemed blind to its feminine incarnation. How women harness restraint as a source of strength, crafting influence beneath the radar of recognition. He praised the warrior's cry, the conqueror's boast, never foreseeing that an unseen strategist could shift empires with a measured glance or a single decisive nod. Imagine a chandelier of frozen flames suspended in a grand hall, its crystals glinting, but its fire locked in ice. Each spark within yearns to break free, to thaw the crystals and flood the room with light. But decorum forbids such spectacle. Men walk beneath, oblivious to the potential blaze overhead, their eyes drawn only to the reflected glow on polished floors. So too do many overlook the silent confidence of women, their nuanced negotiations, the way they transform hesitation into calculated advantage. You wield your power like a hidden current, pulling destinies into alignment without a single ripple on the surface. This haunting symmetry persists. The stronger your certainty, the softer you are urged to appear. You speak in hushed tones lest your words carry too much weight. You smile lest your gaze be mistaken for accusation. You soften your edges as though confidence must be sanded down into a gentle curve before it's fit for polite society. And yet within that seeming docility pulses a fierce intelligence, a flame that darkens the void with possibility. Have you ever wondered why you feel the need to cloak your conviction in silence? Why your fiercest truths simmer beneath a veil of courtesy? Why a woman's whisper can recalibrate a boardroom, a friendship, a family's trajectory, but rarely echoes beyond the walls where it's spoken? As Nietzsche overlooked the muted flames of feminine resolve, so does society too often mistake your power for passivity. The great question emerges from this dissonance. Have you ever wondered why your hidden confidence commands more influence than any public display ever could? You find yourself in the sunlit atelier in Lyon, France, where the air smells of linseed oil and fresh canvas. You are Elise, a graphic designer, who built her career on subtlety, a master of negative space, of gentle curves of colors, whispered rather than proclaimed. To the outside world, you're polite, almost demure, smoothing the edges of every project with practiced ease. But beneath your quiet demeanor burns a resolve as fierce as molten bronze. When you're 12, you sketch your first poster for the school play. The headmaster praises the soft elegance of your work, never remarking on the bold choice of crimson against charcoal. You learn early that compliments measure conformity rather than courage. So you hide your daring palette choices behind intricate flourishes, camouflaging your confidence in a tapestry of gentleness. Years later, you arrive at an international design conference in Milan. The keynote speaker, a titan of the industry, dismisses your question after your presentation. "Lovely work," he says, "but perhaps next time you could choose a theme less ambitious." You nod, swallow the sting, and melt back into the crowd, convinced you lack the nerve for grand ideas. But that evening in the lobby's soft lamplight, you catch your reflection and notice something. Your posture remains unbowed. Your shoulders hold a quiet nobility. In that moment you understand your confidence did not shrink. It simply retreated to strategize. You return to Lyon and pitch a radical rebrand to a local arts non-profit. You propose replacing their well-worn logo with an abstract phoenix, an image pulsing with fiery renewal. They balk. Too loud, they say. You inhale slowly, and in that calm you find your voice. The phoenix speaks to our mission. You reply to transform through art. You present your rationale with meticulous research, case studies, color theory, psychological impact. They relent. Your phoenix is adopted. It soars across posters, gallery walls, even the non-profit's website homepage. Your hidden confidence has flipped the narrative. The public now sees you as a visionary rather than a technician. A year later, your personal life mirrors this pattern of silent revolt. You've been in a relationship with Mark, a journalist whose curiosity rivals your own. He adores your intellect, but he's uneasy when you insist on maintaining your own apartment and financial independence. "I want to take care of you," he says. "Let me handle things." You could acquiesce, but you remember the phoenix and the headmaster's offhanded remark. At dawn, you slip on your coat and walk to your favorite cafe. You set up your laptop, balancing the cost of croissants and crayons beside your bank app. You feel exhilarated. Your independence is a flame you've stoked yourself. When Mark arrives, you smile. "I can handle my own," you say. In that simple declaration, your confidence ripples through the silence between you, reshaping the balance of power in your relationship. Then comes a crisis. The non-profit encounters financial trouble, and they call on you to manage the rebranding campaign under a tight deadline. The board chair, a stern patriarch, expects you to comply with minimal input. You could quietly send a revised logo file and retreat. Instead, you convene an all-night brainstorming session, inviting volunteers into the atelier. You offer croissants and coffee, your voice a steady beacon in the night. You guide discussions with gentle questions, drawing out other women's insights and encouraging their creative sparks. By dawn, you have multiple mock-ups, each more daring than the last. The board chair arrives bleary-eyed, and you present a unified vision, a phoenix reborn with wings of golden filament symbolizing communal renewal. He hesitates, then nods. The campaign is a triumph, raising enough funds to secure the non-profit's future. You learn that your hidden confidence is contagious. By wielding it, you amplify others' courage. In your circle of friends, you are known as the confidant who listens. Yet at 32, when your best friend Leia's marriage falters, you do more than lend an ear. You research legal rights, financial planning, and counseling resources. In your quiet study, you compile a binder of information. When Leia breaks down in tears, you hand it to her. Her gratitude is fierce, her tears reconnecting the threads of your bond. You realize that your silent diligence was a form of empathy, as potent as any grand gesture. Your confidence lay not in a public display of emotion, but in the measured preparation behind it. Through each chapter of your life, you come to see that your power thrives in stillness. It is the pause before a statement, the breath that steadies a hand, the quiet determination that endures when applause fades. Nietzsche described the Übermensch as one who transcends moralities to create new values, yet he overlooked how women often transcend visibility itself, creating worlds beneath the horizon of recognition. Your confidence is not a thunderclap, but an undercurrent shaping destinies in the depths. Soon your story circulates on design blogs and women's leadership forums. Readers comment on the gentle strength you embody, praising you for soft leadership. You smile to know that they glimpse only the surface calm. They do not see the raging underfire fueling your every decision. You have learned to honor that hidden flame, to let it illuminate, rather than incinerate, to guide, rather than dominate. Now, as you prepare for your next endeavor, a collaborative exhibition uniting artists from 3 continents, you carry forward every lesson. You embrace silence as strategy, restraint as radiance, and discreet action as revolution. Your feminine confidence burns all the brighter for being concealed an inferno cloaked in velvet. And you recognize that by living in this paradox, you hold sway over the world in ways men rarely comprehend. You feel the pulse of an ancient lineage coursing through your veins, a tapestry woven by voices who whispered courage into the void. As Carl Jung observed, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. In that darkness, you cultivate your hidden confidence, tending its glow until it becomes a lodestar guiding your choices. You know that women have long been cast into shadows, celebrated for warmth, scorned for ambition, and yet you turn those dim spaces into sanctuaries of power. Viktor Frankl once wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." You have faced countless circumstances beyond your control, a dismissive colleague, an unspoken bias, a closed door. Rather than battering it down, you refined your response, deepening your resolve in silence. You mastered the art of choice to yield, when strategy demanded to advance, when opportunity beckoned to pause, when strength required unseen gathering. Your confidence lives in those choices, each a silent victory echoing louder than any public triumph. Nietzsche proclaimed, "He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow." Your why is the flame within a purpose stitched from resilience, creativity, and the quest for authenticity. You bear the how with grace, you shoulder responsibilities without complaint. You craft solutions without spectacle, you nurture ambitions without apology. In boardrooms and cafes, in homes and studios, you carry a conviction that transcends mere competence. It radiates an undercurrent of inevitability, as if your ascent were written in the constellations before you even took your first breath. The social fabric you navigate often prizes extroversion and broadcast achievement. Yet psychology reveals that introverted confidence can wield equal if not greater influence. Research published in the Journal of Occupational and Organizational Psychology found that leaders who practiced measured communication and active listening inspired deeper trust and longer-lasting collaboration than their more performative counterparts, Smith and Yang, 2023. In this data lies confirmation of what you've always known. Your quiet authority fosters belonging, drives collective vision, and transforms relationships without demanding the spotlight. Biologically, your hidden confidence is rooted in the interplay of cortisol and oxytocin stress and connection hormones that shape your inner thermostat. When you harness pause, you moderate cortisol surges, preventing burnout and sharpening your focus. When you extend empathy, you activate oxytocin pathways, forging bonds that magnify your impact. Your body becomes a laboratory where silence and warmth collaborate, producing a chemistry of influence that radiates beyond any thunderous pronouncement. Socially, the expectations placed on women hamper overt displays of self-assurance. You learn early that an assertive utterance can be labeled abrasive, while meek compliance is praised as gracious. Yet you refuse to be hemmed in by these dichotomies. Instead, you adopt a dialectical approach. You speak with firmness, laced in kindness. You negotiate with empathy, underscored by clarity. You lead with humility, fortified by vision. Imagine a weaver, deftly threading contrasting strands into a resilient fabric. So too, do you integrate tension into coherence, creating a garment of leadership, both supple and strong. Jung's theories remind you that the anima and animus dwell in everyone, that masculine and feminine energies intertwine within your psyche. Society bombards you with messages to suppress one in favor of the other, but you understand the illusion of separation. Your hidden confidence emerges when you embrace both. The animus grants decisive courage. The anima offers intuitive wisdom. In the quiet interplay of these forces, you craft strategies that honor nuance, circumvent dogma, and achieve sustainable progress. Nietzsche's Übermensch transcends conventional morality to forge new values. You extend his concept beyond the masculine stereotype, embodying an Übermenschiner who transcends visibility itself. Your new values celebrate discretion over drama, strategic patience over impulsive conquest, communal uplift over solitary glory. You rewrite the hierarchy of strengths, proving that influence need not roar, it can whisper and still reshape the world. Consider the story of Dr. Aisha Rahman, a neuroscientist whose groundbreaking research on neuroplasticity quietly revolutionized stroke rehabilitation. For years, her male peers dominated conferences with brash claims and flashy demos. Aisha presented at small symposiums. Her voice measured, her slides understated. Yet hospitals adopted her protocols faster than any headline-grabbing innovation. Her patients' recoveries stunned the medical community, all without the fanfare she could have commanded. Aisha's story echoes yours. When women harness hidden confidence, they recalibrate entire fields from below the threshold of spectacle. Scientific literature confirms that diverse leadership breeds robust outcomes. A 2024 meta-analysis in Leadership Quarterly found that teams led by women who leveraged collaborative, low-arousal leadership styles outperformed those led by highly extroverted leaders by 12% in innovation metrics and 8% in employee satisfaction. Gomez et al., 2024. The quiet confidence you embody is not just anecdotal. It is a statistically validated force that propels progress. Your psychological toolkit also includes metacognition, the ability to observe your thoughts and modulate them. When doubt arises, you acknowledge it as data, not destiny. You interrogate its source, past conditioning, societal bias, fleeting mood, and decide whether to amplify or discard its signal. This self-awareness grants you sovereignty over your inner landscape, enabling you to cultivate confidence as deliberately as a gardener tends a prized rose. You recognize that silence itself can be a strategy. In negotiations, a well-timed pause unsettles adversaries, inviting them to fill the void with concessions. In conflict, a quiet refusal to engage diffuses aggression, leaving room for reasoned dialogue. In creativity, solitude sparks insights, moments when your mind uncovers patterns that noise would obscure. Your confidence thrives in those pauses, each one a deliberate stroke in the masterpiece of your life. Through these lenses, Jungian depth, Frankl's resilience, Nietzsche's transcendence, biological harmonies, social research, you see your hidden feminine confidence as an integrated force. It is a living tapestry woven from introspection and action, biology and culture, history and innovation. It does not shout its presence, it pulses, drawing tides of influence into your orbit. And as you stand at the threshold of your next chapter, you know that this concealed flame will guide you farther than any spotlight ever could. You felt the undercurrent of change you set in motion, a conversation sparked by a quiet question, a policy shifted by a single deliberate proposal. But the unseen consequences of hidden confidence run deeper, sculpting destinies in ways you might never witness directly. When you led that all-night atelier session, volunteers left not only with new designs, but with a spark of audacity they carried into their own projects. One intern, Camille, inspired by your silence-shaped leadership, later pitched a social enterprise combining art therapy and refugee resettlement, an idea now unfolding in multiple European cities. Your hidden confidence became the catalyst for her bold leap, rippling outward beyond your field of vision. In corporate corridors, the subtlest shifts can unhinge entrenched power dynamics. After your rebrand campaign for the arts nonprofit, board members who once sidelined women began to reassess their biases. Behind your poised presentation, a senior trustee quietly reinvented his mentorship program to elevate female creatives. He credited the change to the gentle force you wielded, a testament to how silent influence can recalibrate entire governance structures without overt confrontation. Yet this quiet revolution has its costs. When your confidence radiates beneath the surface, it can leave others feeling unmoored. In meetings where you supply decisive insights without fanfare, colleagues sometimes doubt whether they heard correctly or misattribute your contribution to another louder voice. You've sensed teams scrambling to document your suggestions, worried that if they falter, your impact might vanish like mist. The very subtlety of your power creates a paradox. Your influence is potent, yet fragile to the distortions of attribution and recognition. In personal relationships, the stakes intensify. Mark, touched by your declaration of independence, pivoted toward greater equality, but he also struggled with your self-reliance. He confessed that your silent strength sometimes made him feel redundant, powerless to contribute. Their marriage teetered as he wrestled with his own sense of worth, revealing how hidden confidence can inadvertently dim others' lights even as it brightens the world. Data underscores these complexities. A 2025 survey by the Women's Leadership Institute found that 67% of women who led through quiet authority experienced attribution, anxiety, a fear that peers would not credit their contributions, leading to stress and self-doubt over time. Moreover, 54% reported relational strain when their partners misunderstood silent resilience as distance rather than strength. These figures illuminate a darker shadow side of hidden confidence. When it's overlooked, misread, or internalized as emotional detachment, it can erode well-being and relationships. Still, you press on. You've learned that unseen consequences can be reframed as opportunities for deeper connection. You begin to name your contributions, weaving acknowledgement into your silence. In meetings, you send follow-up emails that highlight both outcomes and collaborators. At home, you share not just decisions, but the motivations behind them, inviting Mark into your inner strategy sessions. By calibrating your quiet confidence with moments of clarity, you ensure your flame both warms and illuminates. Consider the story of Maya Chen, a policy advisor whose behind-the-scenes work on gender parity legislation reshaped her country's labor laws. For decades, she drafted bills and briefed senators without public credit. When her achievements finally emerged, backlash ensued. Critics accused her of manipulation and secrecy. The emotional toll nearly drove her to step back. Instead, Maya opted for a new approach, publicly mentoring young women in her field and co-authoring articles that credited her team. She transformed her unseen impact into a shared narrative, alleviating the stress of anonymity while preserving her strategic edge. Your hidden confidence, like Maya's, carries unseen consequences, a tapestry of innovation and tension, empowerment and misunderstanding. You witness how the silent flame can both uplift and unsettle, forge paths and fracture assumptions. Yet in acknowledging these ripples, you gain mastery over their currents. You learn to water not just the spark within, but the garden of connections it nourishes. As you stand on the threshold of new horizons, you feel the intricate web your silent courage has woven across lives and systems. The unseen consequences are neither wholly virtuous nor entirely perilous. They are the complex legacies of a power that defies loud declarations. And in this paradox lies your greatest revelation, that hidden confidence is not merely a personal asset, but a living force that shapes the world in quiet, profound ways. Silence is the powerful signal that hums beneath your words, a living pause that speaks volumes in the hush between heartbeats. It is the moment when your inner compass takes over, guiding you with an unspoken authority. In the workplace, you learn to use that hush as a strategic tool. When a heated debate erupts, you lean back, close your eyes for a heartbeat, inhale deeply, and then offer a single crystal-clear proposal that reframes the entire discussion. Colleagues who clamored to be heard suddenly lean in, drawn by the gravity of your composed presence. In that instant, you turn silence into a bridge rather than a wall, inviting collaboration instead of conflict. In your relationship, you cultivate a sacred silence at the end of each day. Instead of launching into analysis or apology, you simply sit beside your partner, place your hand over theirs, and let the quiet affirm your unwavering support. Over time, that ritual becomes your shared language. Your silent reassurance bridges any emotional chasm, reminding both of you that love needs no constant commentary to thrive. Among your friends, you experiment with silent check-ins. When a friend seems weighed down by worries, you send a single emoji, a lit candle, or a soft moon without demanding details. That gentle signal offers comfort without pressure, giving her space to open up when she's ready, and turning silence into a bridge rather than a wall by respecting her pace and preserving trust. In community gatherings or volunteer projects, you practice reflective silence, pausing after someone speaks to let their ideas echo in the room, then summarizing their point in your own words before adding yours. Your habit of embodying the pause makes others feel genuinely understood, forging connections that outlast any hastily assembled conversation. Even in your own creative process, you honor silence by scheduling quiet hours each week. You close your email mute notifications and sit with a blank page or canvas until a singular insight arises. That practice transforms silence from empty space into fertile ground, allowing your confidence to translate into work that resonates deeply with colleagues, loved ones, and strangers alike. Each of these actions demonstrates how you wield silence as an elixir of empowerment rather than a barrier to communication. By consciously leaning into the gap between words, whether in the boardroom, at the dinner table, in a friend's living room, or in the solitude of your studio, you convert hesitation into invitation, reticence into resonance, and stillness into synergy. You become the architect of a new paradigm, proving that when women honor the eloquence of silence, they knit. Relationships spark innovation and command respect without ever raising their voices. This guide shows that silence is not absence but presence, a living, breathing conduit that carries your hidden confidence into every corner of your life, turning silence into a bridge rather than a wall, and setting the stage for a conclusion that will bind these truths into your ultimate call to action. You stand at the threshold of transformation, your hidden confidence glowing brighter than any billboard or battle cry. You have learned that true power isn't the thunder of a demand, but the steady pulse beneath the surface that guides every choice. Women everywhere carry this flame. The artist who sketches revolutions in quiet strokes, the entrepreneur who builds empires with hushed negotiations, the mother whose silent resolve anchors generations, the friend whose patient presence kindles hope. Your hidden confidence is their anthem. The ultimate truth is this silence is not absence, but a reservoir of power. Your inner flame thrives in the hush undisturbed by the clamor for attention. It is there in the pregnant pause before a proposal, the shared glance that reshapes a relationship, the intentional gesture that inspires a friend. It lives in every woman who dares to believe that her calm conviction can redraw the map of possibility. It is the quiet revolution that men rarely see but cannot ignore. You have witnessed unseen consequences ripple outward, policies shifted, partnerships renewed, creative movements ignited. You have walked through paradox, a gentle warrior cloaked in velvet, emerging stronger each time you honored your silence over spectacle. Now as you step forward, you carry not just your own torch, but a lantern for others to follow, illuminating the path toward collective empowerment. So here's your call to action. Share your story in the comments. How have you harnessed your hidden confidence to reshape your world? Subscribe and ring the bell to join a community of women forging silent revolutions every day. Like this video if you believe in the power of quiet strength, and share it with anyone who needs to feel the warmth of this unseen flame. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter for daily reminders that your silence is a signal, your restraint is a resource, and your hidden confidence is the spark that will light the dawn of a new era. Forge ahead. Trust the embers within. Let your silent sovereignty blaze across the horizon, and together we will change the world, one quiet act of courage at a time.